Hello everyone, my name is Ahmad Tijanuta Barat, and for this video, I'll be explaining the key organs of speech, that is, the parts of our vocal tract that help us produce English speech sounds, and how each of them contributes to making those sounds. So, let's start by understanding the big picture. Speech production involves three mechanisms. The first one is initiation. This is when the airflow is set in motion, mainly by the lungs, to push the air out. The second one is phonation. This is where the vocal folds in the larynx may vibrate for voice sounds or stay apart for voiceless sounds. The third one is articulation. This is the shaping of the airflow by the organs like tongue, lips, palate, etc. to create specific speech sounds. Now let's look at the actual organs. These can be divided into few categories: the respiratory system, the phonatory system, and the articulatory system that shape the sound. Here are the main organs we'll cover: lungs and trachea, larynx, tongue, lips, teeth and alveolar ridge, hard and soft palate, and then the uvula and the nasal passage. The first organ we must mention is the lungs and trachea. The lungs are where the air comes from when we exhale, that outgoing air forms the airstream we use for speech. The trachea carries the air from the lungs up into the larynx and then out into the vocal tract. Without this airflow, we cannot produce speech sounds, at least not in the usual way. Next up, the larynx, which contains the vocal folds and the glottis. When air from the lungs arrives at the larynx, the vocal folds may be positioned so that they vibrate as air passes through. This vibration produces a voice sound such as D. If the vocal folds are held apart so they do not vibrate, the sound is voiceless, such as F. Next up is the tongue. The tongue is perhaps the most mobile and versatile articulator in the mouth. It has different parts: the tip, the blade, the front, the back, and the root. The tongue helps in many ways. The first one is contact or near contact with other articulators will form different sounds. It also shapes the oral cavity, controlling the airflow and resonance, especially for vowels. It is also producing constrictions that results in consonants. The next one is the lips. The lips are important articulators as well. They help produce sounds known as bilabial, which means both lips pressed together, creating sounds such as P, B, and M. And labiodental, which means the lower lip contacted with the upper teeth, creating sounds such as F and V in English. They also help shape vowels, lip rounding or spreading, and influence the resonance of the vocal tract by changing its shape. The next one are teeth and alveolar ridge. The teeth, especially upper front teeth and the alveolar ridge, the bony ridge immediately behind the upper front teeth, form key contact points for articulation, dental sounds. Tongue tip against upper front teeth or between teeth, creating sounds such as th as in thin and the as in then. Alveolar sounds. Tongue tip or blade against the alveolar ridge, creating sounds such as t, d, and n. Thus, the teeth plus alveolar ridge are passive articulators, meaning they are stationary, while the tongue tip is active or moving in many cases. The next one are the hard palate or the bony roof of the mouth, and the soft palate, velum, which is further back and more flexible. The hard palate helps in palatal sounds, which means tongue against or near the hard palate itself, creating sounds such as y in yes. The soft palate or velum can raise or lower itself to open or close the passage to the nasal cavity. When it's raised, air escapes only through mouth, creating oral sounds. When it's lowered, air can escape through the nose, creating nasal sounds, such as m, n, and n. Thus, the velum plays a crucial role in determining whether a sound is nasal or non-nasal. The next one are uvula and nasal cavity. The uvula are the little fleshy piece hanging from the end of the soft palate in the nasal cavity. When the velum is lowered, air flows into the nasal cavity and resonates there, creating nasal sounds. While English does not have a lot of uvular consonants, unlike the French or Arabic, the uvula is still part of the anatomy of the vocal tract. So why is understanding the organs of speech important in phonetics and phonology? The first one is it helps us describe how sounds are produced and thus classify English consonants and vowels systematically. The second one is it helps in pronunciation teaching, speech therapy, and dialect coaching. When you know which organs need to move or vibrate, you can guide correction of sounds. The last one is it also helps in phonological analysis, understanding differences of voicing, nasality, places of articulation, and why some sounds behave the way they do in languages. Alright, that's for me to say. I hope you guys enjoyed. Thank you for watching. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. So why